Welcome to another edition of Stone on Sports, where we go against the grain. I'm your host, of course, Andrew Michael Stone, and I have the pleasure of welcoming the one and only MMA Mastermind. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. Glad to be here as usual. I'm so excited about this card. I say we get right into it.
All right, UFC 217 is arguably the greatest card that the UFC has put together, at least for 2017.
This is going to be another big hit with 3 title fights and the return of one of our favorite fighters, right?
GSP, the homeboy from Montreal.
There you go.
All right, let's start with the bantamweight division, okay? Because obviously there is a lot of bad blood between Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. They used to be teammates. Give us a little bit of the backstory, please.
Listen, TJ Dillashaw used to fight under the Team Alpha Male banner and was the first fighter in the UFC to actually win the bantamweight title. And we found out after that Dwayne Ludwig, the head coach, was the one to get a lot of the praise instead of Uriah Faber. And that created kind of a rift in between the whole team. And I think at some point TJ just said, you know what, I'm going to go out with Dwayne Ludwig and continue my career from there.
Dillashaw is the former champ, so there's a lot riding on this fight for him. Cody Garbrandt has only been champion for about a year right now after stripping the title from Dominick Cruz in an almost dominant fashion about a year ago. He's defending his title for the first time against his former teammate. So let's talk about TJ Dillashaw. What does he have to do to take it to Cody Garbrandt?
Look, I believe TJ to be the superior wrestler, so I hope that he's going to use volume striking to get Cody Garbrandt to back off and get him to the cage to eventually grind him out, take him down, and use what I still believe is great wrestling skills.
All right, and what about Cody Garbrandt in this case? What does he have to do?
Cody Garbrandt, he needs to pick his shots. When you look at his record, he's got an 82% finish rate by TKO or knockout. So to do so, I would like to see him control the octagon, as in stay in the center and use different angles as well to confuse and frustrate TJ Dillashaw.
Is it at all possible that UFC fans are expecting this one to be an all-out brawl?
Listen, they're both coming in with a lot of emotion after everything that's happened with the separation with Team Alpha Male. And when you look at the tough season, there's a lot of bad blood, as you mentioned. This is probably going to be the closest contested fight of the evening, in my opinion.
Okay, so who's going to take it?
I'm looking at the momentum. I'm also looking at, I'm going to use logic on this one. When you look at TJ Dillashaw when he fought Dominick Cruz, he was a bit outworked, he got hit quite a bit more than he should have. And on the contrary, Cody Garbrandt took it to Dominick Cruz. None of us expected that. We expected him to want to just knock him out, but he outworked the dominator himself. So logic tells me Cody Garbrandt by unanimous decision.
I'm going to have to agree with the MMA Mastermind. It's mind-blowing. When we watch the UFC together, guys, I am telling you, this guy predicts stuff ahead of all the color commentators and analysts, so kudos to you. We were wrong about Kevin Lee, let's be honest, but hey, that happens, right?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. To tell you the truth, if you look at the way he had cut weight, I really think had he had a good weight cut, he could have taken this fight.
All right, let's talk about the fight that I'm personally looking forward to the most, okay?
Of course.
The women's strawweight championship bout, pitting Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the champ, versus Rose Namajunas. And let the bias be known, Rose Namajunas is my favorite fighter. So I think you guys know where I'm going with this, but let's just start by breaking it down for 1 second. Yeah. Do you think that Joanna is in Rose's head right now?
No, actually, if you look at the some of the stare downs that they've done together recently, Rose has been unbelievable. She has not flinched. If you look at the video, she didn't even blink.
No.
She is not intimidated by Joanna in the least bit.
That's right, and usually Joanna has got that thing where she comes in really close and she's got the fist right there. So you would think that Joanna could have tried to get into Rose's head. That was not the case. So let's start with Rose, please. Thug Rose Namajunas, what are her 3 keys to victory?
Look, first off, I want to say she is a great striker, so I don't want people to think that I'm trying to degrade her striking. It's not the case, but I'm going to say this. She needs to take Joanna down. She needs to take her down again. And finally, why isn't she taking her down yet?
That's her whole thing, right? That rear naked choke. I don't think there is a better rear naked choke in women's fighting at all. However, is it at all possible to say that there isn't a better striker than Joanna Jędrzejczyk?
Look, Joanna is great. This is what she does. Her whole record is based on her striking. She's unbelievable on her feet, whether it be boxing, kickboxing. She's amazing in the clinch as well. So I'm expecting the striking to be utilized.
Okay, so what are the 3 keys to victory?
Striker again, and why aren't you striking her yet?
Well, there you have it. I think that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be a really interesting fight. And, you know, a lot of people might be a little turned off or off-put by Rose Namajunas' 6-3 record, but she's been on a bit of a streak recently.
She's been on an unbelievable streak, but the problem is Joanna is actually unbeaten in MMA. So this is the big question, and she's trying to match Ronda Rousey's title defense also. So there's a lot of pressure coming in for Joanna on this fight as well.
Okay, so are you going with Joanna?
I'm going with Joanna by unanimous decision.
Okay, I'm going with...
Of course, I would hope so.
Thug Rose Namajunas via rear naked choke, of course.
Wow, anxious to see that one.
All right, okay, guys. So let's get into the one and only fight that everybody has been dying for, especially us being Montreal homeboys.
That's right.
The epic return after a 4-year layoff of the one and only George St.Pierre, and he's taking on Michael Bisping.
This is a great friendly fight for everybody. This is the fight I find that Michael Bisping deserves after everything he's done. He's had an unbelievable career in the UFC, was only granted one title shot, made best use of it, knocked out Luke Rockhold on 9 days notice. So if anybody deserves that big money fight right now, I have to give it to Michael Bisping as far as money is concerned.
A lot of controversies in this one too, because both fighters have gone on the record to say and then retract those comments that perhaps this could be their retirement fights respectively. Do you believe that?
Look, I think George is coming out. He wants to make a statement. He's also in it for the money. Let's not, let's not kid ourselves for a minute. I do think that if George was to lose this fight, maybe a super fight with Conor. But if that doesn't happen, I just don't see him continuing. He should go back into retirement at that point. And for Michael Bisping, look, he's had an unbelievable career. This would actually be the best way for him to leave the UFC as a fighter. I think he's got a great future as far as promotion and being involved in the UFC, though.
And as an analyst, of course, and you see that he does that quite a bit. And, I think a lot of people really like Bisping, despite the fact that he comes across as a little brash, a little arrogant as well. So let's jump into it. And out of respect to George St.Pierre, what are his 3 keys to victory against Michael Bisping?
Well, listen, what I'm going to say, please, guys, this is not what I really hope will happen. But if we're talking really 3 keys to victory, he needs to use the jab. When you look at the fight with Josh Koscheck, he was one of the first fighters to really utilize the jab, created a lot of damage to Josh Koscheck. And I think with the jab, he can transition into his bread and butter, which is wrestling. And what I really, really hope, don't get fooled into a brawl with Michael Bisping.
That's right, because he is one lean, mean, striking machine.
This is the kind of guy that can take a hit to give a hit.
That's right. So what are his 3 keys then?
So what I'd like to see is for him to keep the fight standing, of course, use his striking to move forward also, to pressure George St.Pierre. George St.Pierre doesn't like to be pressured, and he doesn't like to get hit either, if you look at his fights. And finally, what I would like to see Michael Bisping do is talk trash, because I found recently in the press conferences, he's actually was able to get into GSP's skin.
I agree with you, because you've never seen GSP really laugh at anything anybody else was saying. You've never seen him get frustrated the way that he did, and he's a little pissed off right now. So there's a lot riding on this fight for GSP, because if he loses, it's going to be like what a lot of the haters and detractors have said, stay retired. But we're from Montreal, so we kind of have to give credit where credit's due. Everything that George St.Pierre has done for this, for the organization, for MMA, he was a gentleman through and through. I'm not saying it's the end for him, but I just kind of have to go with Michael Bisping personally. Who do you have?
Look, for me, what's important is which GSP is going to show up to fight. Is it going to be the George St.Pierre that we first saw in the UFC, coming in with that killer instinct, knocking people out, submitting them? Or is it going to be the classic GSP towards the end of his career, in the last years of his career, where he was just cruising himself to unanimous decisions, taking people down, not doing a whole lot of damage, but keeping the strap?
Yeah, kind of keeping it boring, I'm not going to lie.
So I believe that George St.Pierre is going to come in hard. He's going to try and take it really to Michael Bisping. He's been under the tutelage of Freddie Roach for boxing. So, but the problem, I think, is that George St.Pierre doesn't like to get hit. So he's going to try to implement a certain game plan. Once he starts taking a couple of hits from Michael Bisping, he may resort to his classic way of fighting, bring Michael Bisping down, and eventually get the decision win.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. I respect it. And I'm sure everybody here in Montreal respects that. Guys, if you're going to watch one UFC card, this is the one, UFC 217 on November 4th at Madison Square Garden. Tune in. That's Adam Dakk. I'm Andrew Michael Stone. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I will catch you guys soon.